but yeah, at the end, maybe we are going to try to get back on track. For beginning, I would like to start by asking the audience one simple question. Who invented the panel discussions? Okay, I don't really want the answer right now, but I can tell you what is my opinion on this question. Well, I think the panel discussion was invented by someone who liked to sit 3 meters above the audience to talk with five of his closest friends for 1.5 hours and barely acknowledge that there are at least 100 people in the room, usually sitting in uncomfortable chairs. And my comment is here that I do hope that your chairs are comfortable for our panel. Our panel is about partnerships and is about innovation, about partnerships and about innovation. Partnerships and innovation. Do you get it? So we called it innovative partnerships. Then we selected some speakers and we invited them to participate with their own contribution. Therefore, I want to name the ones that have accepted our invitation. And Mr. Ivan Levitsky and his colleague Dan Zbukia from ADR Centrum, Mrs. Loredana Gânska and Mr. Kensuke Ishizu from Entity Data Romania, Patrick McCutcheon, Senior Expert at European Commission, and Mihai Sfințescu, Managing Director at Abilita Capital. And last but not least, myself, Alin David from Marco System in Romania. Just as for a short introduction, each speaker will be invited to share his contribution, and I think everybody knows has maximum 10 minutes for his presentation. After all the speakers have finished their presentations, we'll have some short discussion. It was planned for 20 minutes, but I think we can make it in 10. I kindly ask the audience to send any question during our panel to the address event.sid@ulebesibiu.ro. And all the questions that I will be sent to this address will be addressed to the speaker at the end of the panel. The first speaker, let me introduce the first speaker on our panel. He's a senior test engineer at Marco System Romania, with an experience of more than 7.5 years in automotive research and development, and a person who is eager to build knowledge networks between private and institutional stakeholders. So I would like Mr. Alin David to share his screen and turn on the microphone. Oh, wait, I do have it on. Just let me share my screen. Okay. I want anyone can just confirm that they can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thanks a lot. Then we can start my slides today. First of all, I want to thank Mr. David for his introduction. I really liked it. And more info about me you can find on the event website. You have it over there, and you also have the LinkedIn account linked to the image. And also, if you just Google it, you can find a lot about me. Today, I would like to tell you a story, and my story today is about innovative partnerships. But before that, I do have to tell you some short info about Marquardt. Marquardt is a family company that is transformed nowadays in a worldwide company. A positive effect of our global footprint is that we can draw on the development expertise of several countries and thus counter the shortage of skilled workers to a certain extent. We also like to encourage bringing the international teams in the same project so we can learn for each other and we can develop our competencies. What is our story? The history of Marquardt is innovation. What you can see here, starting from 1925 with home appliances products and up to today and maybe tomorrow with automotive products, and not only. I can tell you that one of the most interesting fact in our history is that Marquardt developed and produced a PC keyboard that was used in almost all Russian space missions. Unfortunately, in 1990, this was stopped, was withdrawn from the production. Um, what else is that nowadays, as I said earlier, we develop the future. We do it with passion, and you can see it, the demo car, which is a really state-of-the-art car. It was also presented in Sibiu, for example, last year for the first time in Romania. And all the interaction is made through touch panels, which is glass touch panels, not regular touch panels, glass touch panels. And we also included light emitting and on surfaces to have interaction with the driver. For Marquardt Sibiu, it was started in 2004 with the decision. The most important thing was 2008 for me, from my point of view, which is the Research and Development Center when it was opened. And again, a great milestone was in 2019 when new offices um, were opened in the center of Sibiu. And also from next year, we are going to extend our offices in the center of Sibiu with a software testing department, which will be for sure an excellence department. Okay, I have written here the core competencies, and if you see here, the motto is the innovation in triad. Why? Because we do think that it's a perfect synergy of mechanics, electronics, and software. And you can see on the right the departments of the R&D CBU. What do I think about the partnerships? I want to go to the partnerships and how they are driving innovation. Well, I do think that strategic partnerships are one of the best ways to overcome the challenges of the current global economy. And what is important to everybody is to bring innovative solutions to the market. What we believe here in Marquardt, in R&D CBU, is that the importance of finding the best partners to develop the state-of-the-art technologies. And why to develop state-of-the-art technologies? Because these are the only technologies that enables new experience in the vehicle. Um, that's why we also created the demo car, and we also have a lot of other interesting projects ongoing, and we are working for next years. But we do want to include in our projects the partners, and not only the private companies, but also the institutions. And to give you a clear example, a strategic partner in science and education we found, and we also have in the Lucian Blaga University of Sibiu, and we had a lot of events and a lot of actions together with the university, and like student internships, extracurricular courses held by our specialists in the university. We are attending the conferences, as you see, invest in research infrastructure, and also prizes for various competitions. But this is not the only thing. The partnership is not enough. I do think that the sustainable development is going to be done or to be achieved through knowledge transfer. And I created a short graphic here, and what do I want to say here is that, as you see, knowledge is obtained through training by the human resource, but knowledge also is going to be generating ideas, and the ideas are good for innovation. And who is going to do the innovation? It's exactly the human resource, which has to have passion. As that's why we call it in Marquardt, as I said on a previous slide, passionate developers of futures. So to show you also an example internally from Marquardt, and based on the partnership with the Lucian Blaga University of Sibiu, we did have a project Dynamic, it is called, which was implemented and is still ongoing. And students of the Lucian Blaga University of Sibiu are going to be part of a whole project, not project, but the whole process of knowing the company, and not only the R&D, but the whole company, like from the production part to R&D support departments like quality, logistics, IT, and also the industrialization department with testing equipments. And basically, we are going to transfer the knowledge, the whole knowledge of the company to students. And why we are doing that? At the end, we have to do a teamwork, we have to do a partnerships, and uh, we would like to have the students to see that the students will have the ability to apply the obtained knowledge in practical scenarios. And we do hope to have them in our company. And besides, as I said on a previous slide, beside the institutional partners, we do have partners of leading brands. I couldn't find a better way to put all the partners. There are really a lot. I won't mention anyone. I don't want to do any publicity advertising for them, but we do have a lot of them, and we are still open to find more partners. So just to conclude is whether you know it or not, you all have been in contact with Marquardt. Every day, millions of people, I think, around the world come into contact with our products in the cars, in home appliances, in tools, everywhere. Marquardt is a convenient interface between man and machine. So somewhere you are always in touch with us. And I hope I don't think I have more than 20 minutes. It's for 14 minutes, but if there are any questions, feel free to send them to event.sid@ulebesibiu.ro. I would like to thank you for the attention. I really hope that it was informative, and we can move on to with our presentations with our speakers. Let's see on the schedule. Just give me a moment. I still have it shared. So our first speaker is Mrs. Loredana Gânska, responsible for developing and executing open innovation strategies for Entity Data Romania. Mrs. Loredana Gânska is searching for meaningful connections as she aims for establishing an ecosystem of partnerships with startups. I would like to invite to present her contribution to this conference. So please go ahead, Mrs. Loredana Gânska.
Hello everyone. Sorry, I had a bit of problem with turning on all these apps. Just a second to, I guess you see my screen, but you see only the presenters, right?
Yes, everything is fine.
Okay, so you can see my screen. Perfect. Thanks, Aline, for the nice introduction. Thank you, everyone, for being here today and sharing with us this passion for innovation and for innovative partnerships. I chose, of course, to discuss about open innovation and how business starts with value creation. And this is because innovation today is on everybody's lips. Nowadays, everybody's talking about innovation. Here today, we are talking about innovation. If you look around you, maybe you have a friend of a friend, a colleague, a family member, someone you know, of course, has a business idea, $1 million idea. They want to open a business and hopefully never have to work a day in their lives again. In reality, few of those ideas turn into businesses, and few of those businesses become successful businesses. And this is because I would say the driver behind wanting to become business owner is different. I would say here that we have two different drivers, let's say. We have the revenue extraction category, and we have the value creation category. Of course, most of the ones who want to create a business fit in this revenue extraction category. And this is mostly because we want to have more free time. We don't want to be told what to do. We want to be our own bosses. We don't want to have a fixed schedule. We want to have more free time for ourselves, for our families, to go in vacations. And all this translates into we want to have more money. On the other side, there are those people that have as a driver the value creation desire. Those are the people who have the highest chances to succeed and to build up businesses that change something, that bring value into market. I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy, and a few days ago, our CEO shared an article where Jerry Seinfeld was sharing his point of view about innovation, and he was saying that open innovation starts, or innovation starts, when you start to ask yourself, what am I really sick of? And you actually try to do something to change that situation. And this is why I believe that people whose desire is to create value, is to change something, are those people that have the highest way to succeed. From my point of view, the innovation and value creation are, or at least should be, synonyms. And this is because innovation is not just related to ideas. As ideas that stay in laboratory or stay in universities are simply only ideas. And for us to innovate, it requires a more complex project, some more complex steps. Innovation is the way we bring ideas to reality. We turn ideas into something new, into something real, into something useful, and most of us, we fail and try and retry. Of course, there are always those people that try once and they get the jackpot and have the win solution. But usually we start from a need and we try to find an answer. And this capability of trying or turning creativity into a real thing, this is the key that makes the most of innovation. Innovation is not equal to invention. Innovation does not necessarily mean that you have to come up with an advanced concept or a product. In fact, some of the most innovative and successful ideas turned out to be very simple. Remember High Five? It was one of the most popular social networks before Facebook. And this happened even before social network was a concept. Then Facebook was born and High Five died. Why? Simply because Facebook came up with something better. They came with a standard framework, with an easier way to use the platform, and of course with an app that you can access from your smartphone. So they did not reinvent the wheel, but they did something smarter. We could say that at the time, Facebook was a startup. Why do the startups succeed in value creation and in innovation? Well, because they have dreams. They have those dreams on which they bet their lives, which are rooted in their passion, which stimulate their ambition and make them want to become number one. And this is perfect. This is actually the fuel that makes you want to continue, the fuel that makes you want to move on. This is why we believe that ideas coming from the startup ecosystem are often the most brilliant and the most visionary. Here at Entity Data, as you know, we are part of a Japanese group, and Japanese companies are always supporting innovation and are always supporting and adopting R&D topics. This is why we, being part of a Japanese group, we are constantly looking for innovative solutions, not just ideas. We are looking for solutions, and solutions that are changing things in better. Why? Simply because we have many demands from our clients. It happens that our clients have specific needs. They have specific requirements for which we do not have an out-of-the-box solution. And usually, as you might know, the need is for yesterday. So if we partner with a startup that already has a solution which answers to the client need, then we can respond to this, to our clients' need of innovation in a faster way and in a more professional way. We act as a, let's say, as a bridge between the client and the startup, because we come with the experience in looking at the projects from a pragmatic point of view, and with the experience of implementing and working with complex projects. As you might know, companies are often reluctant in working with startups, but if the startup has behind a brand as Entity Data that can give credibility, then we can have a win-win-win situation. Basically, the client has a solution for his need, the startup has a new project and a new name on their client's database, and we have another satisfied client, and we come up with our experience of conducting complex projects. This is why we are looking for, we want to create a startup ecosystem, so an ecosystem of startup companies. And those startups have to have a business-to-business solution, their own IP, that is somehow complementary to what we are doing here in Entity Data. They have to show that they can bring value to the market, and they can show this by having their solution implemented to one or two clients. And they need to have a growth strategy, which means that they have a long-term plan, and they are here to stay, basically, and to change something in their community, in their ecosystem. So if you know a startup, or you have a startup, and you think that what I presented here and this type of collaboration would be interesting for you, let's talk, and who knows, we might have a really successful partnership. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mrs. Ginska. I do hope that a 30-second question will be allowed, and I want to ask Mrs. Ginska, why do you think it's better for a stakeholder that has the know-how to partner with a startup to validate a solution for a client's need? Why don't the know-how that the know-how owner will find a solution? Isn't it faster, more efficient for the client? Because client is always demanding, as you said yesterday.
So let me see if I understood correctly. Your question is...
It's about slide number 6, where you are saying that the solution comes from the startup and you're just the entity data is just the interface. Why not the entity data who holds the know-how provide directly the solution, which will be, I think, faster for the need to fulfill the need of the client.
Yeah, I understand the question now. We have many requests from our clients, and in the last period of time, we have requests for some innovative solutions. Of course, we at Entity Data, we have our own out-of-the-box solution, which we developed along the time. But our clients usually need a fast response, and they need a solution which they know that is actually working, and they have the proof that another company is using it and it solves the need, right? So for us to start and develop the solution from scratch, this would mean time. As you know, it goes from analyzing the client requirements to actually developing the solution, testing it, doing the quality assurance, all this process that developing a solution implies. And if we partner with a startup that already has the solution and already went through all these steps, the time frame is much shorter, and the value that we bring to the market is, I would say, much better, even for the client.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mrs. Gąska. It's a good idea, and looking forward to maybe discuss on the startups. Okay, thanks a lot. Then I will move to the next speaker. Can you please stop sharing?
Yeah, just a second.
Okay. So our next speaker today, I think I shared the screen, and I want everyone to see our next speaker. It's digital technology like blockchain, the Internet of Things, and even artificial intelligence are a perfect match for a cloud platform engineer that is also the head of innovation at Entity Data Romania, currently working on the expansion of knowledge and solutions. And for Entity Data, Mr. Kensuke Shizu tries to find time to promote digital tech business in Europe. Therefore, I invite Mr. Kensuke Shizu to present his slides and to share his ideas with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your introduction, Alain. I will share my screen. So,
And it's perfect.
can you see my screen now?
Yes.
With the full screen mode, right?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, so let me introduce myself again. I'm Kensuke Ishizu, working for Entity Data Romania as well as Loredana. I'm responsible for the tech bridge between Romania and headquarters in Japan. Also, I'm a part of Entity Data EMEA Innovation Hub, which is the team for accelerating the innovation with operational companies in Europe. Today, I would like to introduce briefly about our actual cases for innovation open innovation with similar partners. So before that, let me introduce shortly about the NTT group in order to let you imagine the internal collaboration within our group. NTT is one of the telecom company group in Japan. We have the 300,000 employees globally, and we have several companies for individual services like internet service, telephone service, and the IT platform and hosting service. And NTT Data is the one of the NTT Group company, which is the providing the consulting, integration and the development of IT system. And we have the 120,000 employees all over the world. And what I'd like to mention in this slide is that we as NTT Data have lots of innovative collaboration within our NTT group, especially with the R&D lab owned by NTT Holding. And yeah, actually now I'm in charge of the EMEA Innovation Hub, which is the team for accelerating the open innovation with internal and external partners for leading the next business of NTT Data. And in the past, IT technology is just a factor for optimizing the existing work. But currently, as you know, business and new experience are driven and generated by IT technology. And to accelerate the innovation, of course, the advanced technology is very important. Then we have lots of collaboration with our R&D team in our group. On the other hand, the development speed of the new technology became quicker, faster, and the range of the technology became wider than in the past. So we cannot follow all advanced technology in a wider range by only ourselves. Hence, the partnership with the university and the startups is really important for us to apply top-notch technology for innovation. Also, as a company, of course, the client is very important. R&D can be done by themselves, but generating the new experience for the customer, we have to bring it with the client to apply it for the new business and services. The cycle of the trial and the feedback in the actual field is quite important for making innovation real. So we collaborate with the client, university, and startup, and also internal R&D team for the open innovation. And now I'm showing one of our initiative in Innovation Hub named Innovation Acceleration. NTT Data headquarters funds to the POC with client, startup, and university. At the beginning of the year, firstly, we defined a tech strategy for 6 digital technology areas like AI and the customer experience, cybersecurity, and also the IoT, something like that, by analyzing the trend of the technology and market. Then we request proposal to NTT Data Operational Company regarding the POC with the partner, which is aligned with the tech strategy. And we select and fund for several POC to create a new asset and to enhance the maturity of the asset in the actual field. And we have 150 POCs in the past 3 years. Today, I'd like to show you 3 actual cases in our innovation acceleration initiative. The first case is in Italy. NTT Data Italy developed the food donation platform in collaboration with the ministry, charity organization, and the university. Ministry and the charity organization bring us the actual opportunity. Then NTT Data provide a blockchain platform for notarization for the donation and award. Also, university provides the calculation formula and algorithms for the tax reduction respond to the amount of donation. It was a really good opportunity to respond to the global sustainability with public sector and the university. And in addition to that, from the technical point of view, it is really important for us for having the trial of the blockchain technology in the actual system to evaluate the advanced technology at the very beginning phase of the technology. And the next case is the navigation system for blind people in amusement place. Basically, almost map system still relies on GPS, but it doesn't work well in the indoor environment. And one of the startup in Italy, Jeepstech, which is providing the map system, and it is able to use in the building. And they collate the actual map and the geomagnetic field map, and the device measures the geomagnetic field and identify their current position. Also, NTT Lab provide a haptic device for navigating the blind people. And it is a little bit difficult to explain in the words, but the device generates the vibration, asymmetric vibration, and which make user to feel someone pulling their hand to the specific direction. And so we integrate them to implement the navigation system in the arena. The device itself is, let's say, meaningless, but by integrating with the good technology and use cases by startups and client, it provides the actual value. The last one is the intelligent microphone. NTT Lab provided the intelligent microphone, which has the directivity to extract the sound which come from several directions separately. It has a good performance for canceling the noise, and it can be used for extracting the sound come from the talker. In addition to that, if we put it between the people who has the conversation, it can recognize and extract their voice individually. So we have the several POC with manufacturer client, retailer, and also the cafe by utilizing this device. In this year, we are doing the POC with car industry to use it for in-car communication. Also, we are using it for the conversation with virtual avatar. You can see on the middle of this slide. And we put it with avatar at the front of the shop, and the avatar can communicate with customer to introduce their product. Then microphone can correctly extract the voice came from who talk with this avatar, even if they are the other customer talking with their family or friends. I mean, the noisy environment. Also, we had a trial it in the cafe, and actually this cafe is in Sibiu city, and that's one of the reasons I want to add this slide for today. Anyway, we used it for analyzing the age and gender of the customer by integrating with the AI to suggest a recommendation for individual customer. Yeah, those are the case of my side. I hope it is informative for you. Thank you for your listening.
Well, Mr. Ishizu was quite informative. Thank you for the presentation. I do have a quick question. You did manage to be in time, and I still have 30 minutes from your time to put the short question. Why does the client need, you stated somewhere during the presentation that the client needs access to entity data innovation ecosystem. But the client basically needs solutions for his own requirements. Why do you want to provide access to the data innovation ecosystem? And don't you provide directly the solutions? Because the data innovation should be intellectual property.
Yes, actually also we can provide a solution for their business. But currently the transition of the business is really quickly and faster than in the past. So they almost all clients would like to generate the new business and the new experience for their customers. In order to do that, we cannot generate the new business with the existing solutions, and they are really interested in innovative technology in order to utilize it for their new business. That's why they're really interested in collaborating with us for bring the innovation technology to generate their business.
So I congratulate you for the openness. You are trying to open the innovation to your client directly. It's a good idea, and yeah, keep the job, keep the good job done.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mr. Ishizu. I will move now to the next speaker. Well, the next speaker on our schedule is Mr. Patrick McCutcheon. He is a member of the Department for Research and Innovation at the European Commission, and he is responsible for the review of the impact of competition policy on innovation and antitrust. I will help Mr. McCutcheon with his presentation, and I will give the floor to Mr. McCutcheon. Let me share the presentation for him first. Okay. Okay. Mr. McCutcheon, you have the microphone.
Thank you, Mr. David, and thank you for the invitation to participate in this event. Very interesting to listen to the preceding conversations. Whilst I will focus on antitrust rules, let me just mention that in respect of what you've already discussed, the Commission has had a number of programs to support open innovation by either providing IP advice to universities in specific cases to help them with license negotiations and due diligence, patent landscaping, and also at a more financial level through the European Innovation Council to help mature technologies such that they can be licensed. This week is a rather busy one in that the Commission has released an action plan on intellectual property, and also there has been a decision in a German court regarding a referral of a case to the European Court of Justice, which I will come back to. So moving to the main part of the presentation, the developments in technology transfer are focused on review of some rules in antitrust law and looking at the public to private transfer. If we move to the next slide, please. So first of all, why are we talking about antitrust? Well, antitrust is generally, the starting point is that collaboration is a bad thing, that competitors should compete and not collaborate. So the Treaty on the Functioning of the EU and Article 101 has a general prohibition on such agreements, although it carves out an exception in subparagraph 3 that if, amongst other things, the collaboration leads to technical and economic progress, the agreement between what might be competitors is, it may be exceptionally allowed, provided that the arrangement does not lead to hardcore antitrust issues such as price fixing or control on the levels of production. Now, how does this work? In practice, this is not subject to legislation of Council and Parliament. In addition to the provisions of the treaty, the Commission has prepared guidance in the form of block exemption regulations in both the case of collaboration in R&D, which is in antitrust terms, collaboration at the same level of the value chain, meaning collaboration between what could be seen as otherwise as competitors. And then secondly, in what antitrust regards as a vertical agreement, where technology is transferred from one level of the value chain to another. So both of these types of collaboration are subject to block exemption regulations and supported by guidelines. Next slide, please. So the first one, the regulation on R&D collaboration, is currently subject to a review process, which started about a year ago with a public consultation of stakeholders and then a consultation of the national competition authorities. The aim of the Commission is to come forward early next year with some ideas on how these rules could be amended to take account of changes that have taken place in the 10 years since the rules have been in force. The second regulation on technology transfer has an expiry. I should mention, first of all, that the R&D collaboration regulation expires at the end of 2022 and should either be extended or replaced at that point. The other one on tech transfer has a slightly different timeline, and a review process will start on that next year. But what do these basically provide? The two block exemption regulations essentially provide advice on what might amount to a white list and a black list of activities that would respectively be exempt from antitrust concern, or on the other side, raise some antitrust concerns. The consequence of that is to ensure that the agreement is legal. If the agreement is not legal, it is void. So if we move to the next slide, please. So the guidelines are, it's a little complicated in that R&D guidelines are included in a more general set of guidelines on all types of horizontal collaboration, whereas the technology transfer guidelines are outlined in a dedicated document. And the purpose of these is to advise on how the parties to such agreements can themselves assess whether they have complied with antitrust rules, and where the block exemption hasn't provided the black and white answer. Here it's perhaps worth stressing that since the reform of antitrust policy, all of these agreements are not subject to notification to the Commission or approval by the Commission, but rather the parties themselves must determine whether they are likely to be in breach. And here the concern is that, of course, if they are, their rivals might issue complaints to the Commission. Now, when we think about public-private cooperation in the context of innovation, it is generally the case that universities and public research organizations are not, strictly speaking, competitors of companies, in that they are not competing to sell products or services on the market. So they're not really competitors, and generally this type of collaboration is exempt. But there can be a concern if the public research organization or university is one of a small number of highly competent, excellent research teams, and the collaboration between that entity and a company would effectively reduce the number of independent R&D teams. We're talking about reduction to perhaps 3 or 4, not say from 19 to 18. The idea is that we want to have competition in research as well as in terms of selling products and services on the market. And in between, we have what we term the innovation market, where technologies are licensed. If we skip the next one, which I think is a blank, and then move to the slide. So what have we seen in practice? So far I've described the regulatory advice. Interestingly, we have had more cases involving vertical collaboration than horizontal. And this is perhaps counterintuitive, because collaboration between entities at different levels of the value chain is seen more benignly, because the starting point is a sense that these are not actually competitors, and that collaboration at different levels of the value chain, in fact, is going to support innovation. If we think of what we heard earlier, if we license technology, so the fact that a specialist R&D company would engage in technology transfer and license its technology broadly, this would lead to a diffusion of technology by companies which themselves are not engaging in R&D. However, we have seen over the last years quite a lot of litigation in this space, and specifically in the case of the smartphone wars. Going back a generation before telecoms were deregulated, there was a degree of research and innovation in this space, and competition was between companies who were effectively engaged at all levels of the value chain. So in a sense, when each had technology that the others needed, and this was mutual, there was companies had aligned interests, and they were able to solve the issue of freedom to operate by making cross-license deals. What, of course, we have seen in the meantime is a degree of vertical disintegration with specialization, where you have companies that specialize in carrying out R&D and who don't participate in product markets and who need license revenue to further their R&D. And on the other side, you have what might be called pure implementers who do not engage in much R&D, but seek to license in the technology in order to put new products on the market. Of course, these are the two extremes. You have other companies that are doing a bit of both. So the question really is in the context of standard essential patents, and the question that has arisen in most recent litigation is, when can you enforce your patents? Normally, an IP holder is allowed to either refuse to license or to determine what the license conditions are. This is somewhat exceptional in the case of those patents that read on standards which are subject to what is usually referred to as a FRAND commitment, a fair commitment to license on fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory terms. The rationale being that if this commitment is not given, the need for access to standard essential patents is so absolute that the patent holders could set very high rates. So that is dealt with by court determination of what is FRAND, but the current dispute, and one which has involved a lot of litigation, particularly in Germany this year in the automotive sector, and a series of cases between Nokia and a number of companies in the auto sector. Nokia has tried to enforce its patents. The implementers who are not licensed are arguing that the licenses should be taken at a different level of the value chain. And this very question has this week been referred to the Court of Justice to determine whether, in fact, the patent holder can say at what level of the value chain the licenses should be issued. We would expect a ruling perhaps on that towards the end of next year, or maybe in 2022. It remains to be seen what effect this has on license negotiations. If I move to the next slide.
Mr. McCutcheon, please try to get closer to your conclusions.
Yes, I'm nearly there.
We are already passing the allocated time.
Okay, I will just wrap up if you give me one more slide.
Yes, please go ahead. Sorry for interruption. The last slide?
So, well, I just wanted to wrap up with
please.
the dates. The block exemption regulation is going to be subject of a proposal for revision next year, with the aim of having the new regulation in place by the end of 22. So that is a fairly generous timeline, allowing for lots of consultation. And towards the end of next year, we will start the review on the other one. And as already indicated, the IP action plan was presented this week. Thank you. I'll leave it at that. Okay,
Mr. McCutcheon, thanks a lot for your presentation and for your information. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions. Maybe at the end of all the presentations, if anyone will send any questions via the already presented email, I will move to our next speaker, which is in collaboration from between colleagues in ADR Centru. So Mr. Dan Zbuka, I think he has a ADR Centro has a strategic role in the heart of Romania, and is also a key player on the sustainable development in the central region of Romania. So, Mr. Dansbuka, please go ahead, share your presentation and the contribution to this Sibiu Innovation Days.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll have the floor. Just a second. Okay, I think everybody can see my screen now.
Not yet. Let's wait for a moment.
Just a second. This should be okay by now. Do you see my presentation?
Not yet.
Okay, something.
Now we can see it. You can go ahead.
Okay, I'm glad we overcome this technical problem. I'll just give you a short presentation. I hope to be as briefly as possible on partnership for innovation as foreseen in the next regional operation program in the Central region, beginning with the next year, 2021 till 2027. Also, to be said, this is the new programming period set out by the European Commission. Few words about our Regional Development Agency, RDA. It is a public utility NGO with over 20 years of activity. Over this period of time, it served as an implementing agency for fire programs before the accession of Romania in the EU. It also served as an intermediate body for ROP 2007 till 2014, and in the current period it is an intermediate body for the present regional operational program. In the future, it will have the authority of managing the next regional operational program, the next ROP. It is also part of the Enterprise Europe network, which assures business support for SMEs. Over the lifespan of our agency, we helped to implement over 2,000 projects with a budget of more than 2 billion euros. Speaking of the Central region, a few words about it. It is spread above the counties of Alba, Mureș, Sibiu, Arghita, Brașov, and Covasna. It has more than 2 million people inhabiting it. We have a 2.6% unemployment rate and almost 60,000 active companies within. Few more words about it. We are proud to have two emerging digital innovation hubs in our region. For possible investors which might be interested of the state aid intensity, it is to be said that here in our region it is of 50%. Our total foreign investment sum at the present time overcomes 7 billion euros. I will briefly take a look into our smart specialization strategy. It is a concept recently developed by academics and sustained by the European Commission. It encourages collaboration between private sector, the business sector, and the research and development public sector. Through this smart specialization strategy at the regional level, in our case, there were marked 9 excellence economic sectors, namely food industry, wood processing and furniture, sustainable built environment, automotive industry, in which Sibiu and Alba are leaders, IT&C and creative industries, textile and leather industry, health and pharmaceutical industry, aerospace, uh, sustained by the activity in Brasov, and last but not least, tourism, in which every county has its own valuable input. Checking the reality of partnership for innovation in our region, we are not proud to say that the indicators are not at all let's say are not something to take in front and be proud of. So the innovative collaborating SMEs in our region are at only 20% of the national average, and it barely comes to 1% of the European average. In a more pessimistic view, we might also say that is it 0% comparing to the European average. These indicators are extracted from the Regional Innovation Scoreboard report taken out by the European Commission yearly. There is hope for us, let's say, taking a look at the number of scientific publications having at least one author outside the border. We have a remarkable percent of 80 of the national average, but comparing it to the European average, we barely take it to 38%. The cooperation between public and private sector in releasing research results goes to 86% of the national average and a modest percent of 26 to compared to the EU average. The European Commission, through its European semester, draws attention about the fact that cooperation between business sector and university in Romania is seldomly taken into reality, and the main factors which prevent this cooperation to take place is especially the administrative and legislative barriers. A recent report coming in supporting the next European policies being developed nowadays recommend that open innovation in cooperation with all sectors, with all actors, should be accessed by companies regardless to their size. Developing the idea, big-sized companies are encouraged to take steps towards cooperation with startups, with small and medium enterprises, which most of the times are more adapted to consumers' needs and in a more, let's say, open communication with them. In the past few years, our RDA conducted a report which relevated that only 9.15% of small-sized enterprises in our region conduct cooperation with university or research institutes for innovating their products and activities. Coming back to the smart specialization strategy, I'll point out that it has 5 main objectives, among which the support of innovation in regional economic sectors of excellence as they were presented, creation of stronger local communities, and integration of our local business in the European and global knowledge flows.
Mr. Buka, sorry for interruption. Time is running up. Please try to summarize. And
okay. I have only few ideas to put on. I didn't mention that the smart specialization strategy is the fundament for the intervention in the next regional operational program. The regional operation program envisages a lot of actions towards cooperation in taking out to the market of innovation products. They are all summarized here in this slide. I am open for questions, for any adding of ideas coming.
Thanks a lot, Mr.
Thank you very much.
One short question to you, if
Yes.
I'm allowed.
Of course.
I noticed that you are an expert program program expert in at the ADR Center. Can you name or can you tell us an actual program that is ongoing right now with impact on the cooperation between the private sector and universities or any research institute?
Yeah, in this programming period, we had the priority axis 1 of the current ROP, Regional Operational Program. Here, there were encouraged technology transfer activities and also innovation activities. For now, being one call for projects is open at the current time, namely 11C, which encourages technology transfer between research institutes or universities and small and medium enterprises. So,
Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Luque. For our next speaker, he's a jury member of the European Innovation Council. Mr. Mihai Sfințescu constantly supports the European startup ecosystem. Besides this, he acts as an advisor on raising finance for growth companies and private equity, venture capital portfolio management. So I want to ask Mr. Sfințescu to share with us his slides and his presentation.
Thank you for the introduction. Let me. I'm not sure. I don't have the share button active. Is it?
Okay, if you want, I can share it for you.
But I don't know what's why is this not? Or maybe, yeah, I don't know.
I can share your presentation and you can speak freely. I can help you with
Okay,
that.
so let's start with the cover for now. So thank you for this opportunity to present the innovative startup funding, private and public financing sources. We have seen so far in this very interesting panel speakers talking about innovation, about competition issues. Let us move then to financing the startups. My name is Mihai Sfintescu, and I will walk you through this presentation. Can we move to slide number 2, please, which is the agenda? So we have, for today, we'll have 3. One is, the first one is what funding options are available to new startups. The second one is how long does it take to raise funding and how much time do you have to dedicate to fundraising as a team? And third is perhaps quite interesting, what do investors expect to see to fund a startup? If we can move now to slide number 3, which is funding options for new startups. As you start working on an idea, initially at the foundation stage, as it is called, you have the what is called the 3F, family, friends, and fools in inverted commas, which and that is obviously just at the very beginning. As you move on with your startup, you then become interesting to other type of investors, which include business angels. And these are typically people that are former entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs, in fact. Executives, venture capitalists that are not currently in a fund, etc. So usually, kind of business people that that have an interest in that industry where your innovation is, and are willing to invest money, but also to help you with growing your startup. Typically, they make quick decisions because they are individuals, so there is no structure above them. But at least in Romania or in Central and Eastern Europe, the tickets, the investment tickets tend to be small. So in Romania, I think typically they invest maybe 20,000-30,000 euros in a startup. If you need a bigger amount, you can create or you can create a syndicate of business angels, which means that there are more business angels that will invest together in your startup. Obviously, then the amount can be higher. Maybe it can go up to 150 to 200,000 euros. But it will surely take longer because it takes more time to convince more people, and then some are having second thoughts, etc. The next category is venture capital funds, which is one of the, let's say, the core investors in the innovation space. Here, the process takes a bit more time, as with the business angels, because they have procedures, investment committees, and so on. So you need to keep in mind that you need to approach them in advance. But then the advantage is that the investment ticket may be quite large, and there is a follow-on possibility. So they can, for instance, either invest in tranches or they put some money, but they can also put more money when the next funding round happens. In terms of size, I mean, it really depends on what type of fund. The early stage funds tend to invest amounts of, let's say, 500,000 to 1.5 million euros. And then for Seed Plus and Series A, the amount goes into millions, and then can go actually quite high. I mean, in the US, we have even like Series D, venture capital funds which can invest like 100 million in a company, but in the region, I think you need to think about like $500,000 to millions, depending on the size and on the orientation of the fund. The next category is what is called corporate venture capital, and that is in fact that within a corporation or a financial institution, they create something like a venture capital department, which is funded by that corporation or institution, and they tend to be, let's say, similar to a certain extent to venture capital funds, but there are some differences. One is that usually these CVCs, corporate venture capital, are looking at a strategic fit for the organization. So they will not invest in something that has nothing to do with what their parent company does. Also, the due diligence that they do tends to be more detailed than what a venture capital fund does, because they, being part of a large corporation, especially if it's listed on a stock exchange, they want to make sure that they don't get some unknown risks within their corporate structure. Another option that has been developed lately is crowdfunding, and you'll see also local but also international options for that. And the benefit is that it gives you a marketing boost, because the crowdfunding campaign also acts as increases awareness about the product and about the company. So and that is a plus. On the other side, you have to be careful to intellectual property rights risks. In that, for instance, if you invented something and you haven't patented it, or it's not protected legally, once you publish that as part of the crowdfunding, you may not be able to protect it legally anymore, because if you have distributed publicly the information, then that's part of the public domain, and so you need to, if your startup has a significant IP, you need to talk to an IP lawyer before to understand those issues. Also, another issue is that pricing may be wrong, and that may cause the crowdfunding campaign to fail, because here you don't have like a negotiation with somebody. You set a price, and if people don't like the price, that's then too bad, because you can't raise the funds. Then I also have this non-dilutive funding, or with another also known as grants. And obviously, it's always good to get free money, so to speak, especially at the beginning when the dilution in a round is quite important. What you need to do, though, is to study thoroughly the program, and here I put a link to European Innovation Council Accelerator, where I'm a jury member, and I think that's you may find this program quite interesting. We give grants up to 2.5 million euros, and starting with late last year, we also introduced an equity component that it's separate. I will have another panel, in fact, the last panel of today. So for those who are interested, I will present there all the programs of the European Innovation Council. And then finally, there is this structure with loans, which typically have a public funding warranty. So because the startup is too risky to receive loans, there is this warranty that it's sponsored by public money. And there are a few local programs, but here you need to be wary of cash flow constraints, because it's good to take a loan that you don't get diluted, but the issue with the loan is that on a certain date you have to give back a certain amount of money, and if you don't, you might be put in bankruptcy, right? So you need to understand that, because typically for a startup, it's hard to generate money in the initial period. So be very careful with cash flow planning. Factors to consider on those issues. Combining some of these may be a good idea. And for instance, you can take money from a venture capital and also get money from the EIC accelerator. Or for instance, you can take a business angel and then run a crowdfunding campaign. So that's usually a very good idea. Or you can have a business angel and a venture capital and so on. Other factors are you need to look at the compatibility with the investor, at the level of expertise, support it can help you with, and also follow-on capabilities. So if you need more money, can they come up with those money? And finally, price is not everything. So you need to look at the whole package. Non-monetary, for instance, non-monetary benefits, in that you get help to, I don't know, access some markets or recruit some people. And also asymmetrical returns, because sometimes if you ask for a very high price, the reverse of that would be that the investor will then get a preferred return, so that it is sure that it can make some money. Can we move to the next slide, please? Slide number 4, which is about how long does it take to fundraise and how much time you have to dedicate for it.
And Mr. Sfintescu, sorry for interruption. If it's about time, how long does it take to fundraise? Please try to summarize it, because time is running out, and we need to.
So you typically need 3 to 6 months to fundraise. It may take longer if you're new to the market or the business is more complex. On average, you need to dedicate a couple of hours per day collectively for the team, but it also varies considerably throughout the process. Factors to consider, so that's very important, that you need to keep cash at minimum 6 months of operation. So you need to start fundraising 7 to 9 months before you run out of cash. And also to consider if you need a dedicated resource. So finally, moving to investors' expectations, there are requirements. The next slide, please. Are they capable to execute the business plan, skill set and complementarity of the team, compatibility of the team, if they can work together, and also bear in mind that the investors want to see a team ready for the next stage of development, not for the past. On the product, you have to demonstrate a need for it. You need to look at competitive advantages, unique selling points, IPR protection, and also the roadmap of the product, from trials to working prototype to MVP and marketable product. The market is total addressable market big enough to allow the startup to reach the desired size. If it's growing, also competitive landscape and barriers to entry. And finally, there are some other elements like on the last slide, technological and business scalability, sensible business plan. And finally, factors to consider. So investors need to have a different, investors have different stage positioning, from pre-seed to seed plus to Series A and so on. Rapid growth typically causes large cash burn. So you need to understand this, that if you grow fast, you'll need a lot of cash to support that. And finally, as startup progresses, the investment risk goes down, share price goes up, and dilution per investment round goes down. Thank you. I'm done with the presentation. So, yeah, so sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay, thanks a lot for your presentation, Mr. Sfintescu. I think we are done with our schedule. I do have one ending slide. It's a, oh wait, not this one. it's about the questions. We should have 20 minutes of discussion, but now we are in a big delay. I did receive one question on the event.sid@sibiu.ro, and the question is about if from Mr. Schmidt, if I can present a picture of Marquardt keyboard that was sent to space on several Russian space missions. And yes, I can show it to you. Let me move to the other screen. Basically, this is the label of it. It's a military keyboard. And you see, it's a bit different than we know the keyboard today. And the number of it, and this is how it was looking. It's a military keyboard. It was the production of the keyboard stopped in I think 1990s. I think 1990. Okay, I would like to thank all the. If there are no other questions from the audience or for the other speakers, I would like to thank everybody for their contribution to Sibiu Innovation Days. Yeah, I think it was a great panel. I do hope everybody enjoyed the time spent here and the information that was shared between the speakers and also with the audience. I think and I do hope it's the best information that can anyone acquire during this Sibiu Innovation Days. And I'm looking forward to the other panels. Therefore,